I had trauma from my husband passing away, right? Because I was caring for him for like 9 months, and he was not an easy patient to take care of because he was very stubborn and would lash out and stuff because he was in severe pain, and he didn't like giving up control and stuff. But before he got really sick, we had issues in our marriage. The D word, divorce, came up several times by him. And so I think that kind of plays into the guilt that I'm feeling. And so I have unprocessed trauma from the past in talking with my therapist, talking about my autism. So I'm very sensitive when I get criticized. I take it really hard. I get traumatized when somebody dislikes me, gets mad at me, doesn't agree with me. Like internally, it gives me anxiety. Like outwardly, you wouldn't think that I have a problem because I'm not crying, I'm not getting angry, I'm not physically doing anything, but inside I feel like a chihuahua that's like shaking, like really bad. And that is what causes me to grind my teeth and causes me to have headaches or causes me not to be able to sleep well. And so I've been trying to use exercise because I know when I exercise, I feel really good. And but I've been having a hard time sticking with the exercise. Like I get up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get dressed, I'm going to wash up, and I'm going to exercise before I have breakfast. But then my darn phone, I get distracted by my phone. I think of something and then I search it on the internet, and before I know it, I've been like searching for an hour, and then I'm like really starving. So then I'm like, I don't want to work out. I want to just eat. And after I've eaten, then there's no time to work out because now I got to go, do something else or whatever. So, and I used to not be like that. I used to be very, very good at just like boom, 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 just get up and do what I need to do and then get going. And my OCD has just like been running amok, and I've been trying all different kinds of like systems, reward system, and writing it down, checking it off type system, and it like works for a little bit and then it stops working. And I get all pissed off at myself. And so in talking with the therapist, they say, I'm being a perfectionist, and it boils down. And so they asked me, like, where does that all come from? I'm like, well, because my mom was a perfectionist, and she would yell at me when I didn't do things right, and if I did things right, then she would reward me. She would be like, oh, that's perfect, and so I just like always want to be perfect, and if I'm not perfect, then I'm a failure. So my latest therapist told me about this thing called EMDR, which stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And so basically, the way I understood it is that when you go to sleep at night and you get into that REM sleep, and if you're watching somebody that's in REM sleep, you see their eyeballs are like moving under their eyelids, like they're looking at stuff or something, like you can tell they're dreaming. So from what she told me, that when you get into REM sleep and you have a good night's sleep with REM sleep, then you are processing all the things that happened that day to you, good or bad or whatever. And that goes from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. And so like say you had a bad day, you dealt with it, and then it's over, and you learned from it, and you move on. But when you don't fully process it, it's like it's stuck in your short-term memory, I guess. And so then it bothers you. You haven't like gotten over it. So I guess I have a lot of that going on. And so we did a session where, well, I'm not going to describe the whole thing to you because I'm already like over 10 minutes here. But basically, they have you, well, what she had me do is, it's weird. They say if you put your hands on your lap and you tap your hands on your lap like this, while your eyes are closed, it causes some kind of reaction for your eyes to move along with your hands or with your feet if you're tapping your feet on the floor, which I thought was like really weird. But there's like clinical things, it's not like some hocus pocus weird voodoo thing. It's actually, if you look it up on the internet, it's on there. It's an actual therapy, EMDR. And so, okay, so as they're talking, as you're doing that, they're having you think about the traumatic event that you haven't fully processed. So you're talking about it, you're thinking about it as you're doing this tapping, and your eyes are moving back and forth. And so it's like you're in REM sleep and your brain is processing the thoughts and feelings and everything from that event, and it's like filing it away. So I've only done it a few times, and they say that it can take anywhere from 1 to 12 times to really, I guess every person's different, right? Depends how traumatic it is or whatever. So anyway, so yeah, she was asking me like, well, what's the first traumatic thing you can think of in your whole life, like from childhood? So I had to like go back and think about, my mom yelling at me, for washing the dog dish with the wrong sponge. Oh, somebody had a comment on there, but I missed it because I was talking. Just want to make sure my sound's still on. So anyway, sorry, I got distracted there. So what was I saying? This is where I wish that, I could hear you guys, because then you could be like, oh, this is what you just said. I can't hear you. So, so the EMDR. So, oh yes, I was thinking about my mom yelling at me because I was, washing the dog bowl with the wrong, because she was very particular, like there was a special one for the dog dish and there's a special one for everything else. And, so I had to think about, she's like think about everything, like walk yourself through the actual scene of this traumatic event, like you had to like totally feel it and stuff. So, and so she was asking me questions about my childhood, so like, oh, so what happened to your dad, and so my mom and dad got divorced when I was 7, and it wasn't really, let me read this on your channel the other day. I cried, I could feel, oh. I always feel bad when people say they cried, because I don't want to make people cry. But I guess it's good that you relate to it. So hopefully you can relate to what I'm saying now, that, if you have trauma and you need to relate to get it out, maybe this EMDR thing will help you. So Google it, look it up on YouTube. There's a lot of videos on it. I was surprised when I looked it up. There's even one where you could do it yourself, which I haven't. I need to like look at that, because then that way I don't need to like wait for my next appointment with the therapist. I can just do it myself. so I don't know, there was one that says, is it a good idea? So probably you should watch that video first to see if it's a good idea to do it yourself, because there was one video that I watched, an actual therapist, she had her therapist do it on her, and she said that that things got ugly before they got better. Like, I guess because she was thinking about her trauma a lot, so like it brought it all back, and so she was like, kind of freaked out about it, I guess. So, so I feel like that's kind of like what I do. I suppress my feelings about the trauma. It's like, it's over. Stop. Don't think about it. Because I know if I talk to someone that like doesn't know anything about what happened with me and Tom, and I have to like explain it to them, I can feel the anxiety and all the emotions getting up there. And so I either like tell them a really high level watered down version of the story, or because they don't know, I could tell them whatever, they wouldn't know. I cut it short or something, because if I get into all the gory details, then it's like what they say about women who get raped, and then they have to tell their story on the witness stand, and it's like they're being raped all over again. So it's kind of the same thing with having to think about caring for my husband and during that point. So I actually had to like talk about that with the therapist. Well, I didn't have to, like I said, I could tell her whatever, but I felt like I had to in order to get past it. So yeah, I'm going to continue with this, and I'll let you know how it goes. And I'm going to continue with my, exercise and eating better and getting to actually, speaking of getting to sleep, yeah, I was supposed to do this video like way earlier, and my internet went down. Didn't go back up until like after 8:30 or something. So all my plans kind of got shuffled around. But I tell myself, everything happens for a reason. God has a plan, and it doesn't always go according to my plans. So I'm going to leave you with that, and please share your experience with EMDR or any other methods of dealing with traumatic events. So hopefully we can all learn from each other. So mahalo for watching, and I look forward to sharing with you more in the next video. So, what did I say? I was going to do, I think, Wednesday and Friday. See, I have bad memory. So, anyway, good night, and have an amazing Sunday, and I'll see you, or you'll see me, in the next video.